First of all, Koraldi, thank you so much for doing this. And this is the second time that you are here on our blog. So I'll just give a very quick introduction. Plato's Caves Online is hosting a series of talks with authors, activists, thinkers. And this is the second time we are doing this after 2021. We did kind of small interviews in between, but we are restarting this after 2 years or 3 years. And we again have Koral Dasgupta with us, who is the very famous author of the Sati series. She's also the founder of Tell Me Your Story, which is a very unique venture that I personally have seen doing very well. So, welcome, Koral Di, and I'll start straight away with my list of questions. And the
Sure.
first
That's
thing
amazing.
that I would like to ask you is the idea of the Panchkanyas, and I have seen your interviews and I have read the series. It's a five-part series. The first is Ahilya, then it's Kunti, then Draupadi, Mandodari, and finally Tara. And what this series does, as you have said time and again in your interviews, is subvert the idea of the purity of the woman associated with the woman's body. And you have shown that how all of these women, despite having multiple partners, were not considered impure in our epics or in our mythology. So would you like to start with this, and what really got you interested in this aspect of Indian mythology?
So actually, when I started writing, all these things were not in my mind. You see, I mean, I'm a storyteller. Activism is nowhere close to my, character. So I was not even thinking that I will do a feminist writing because I don't like the word feminism. I don't connect with it. I don't call myself a feminist. I don't call my writing feminist writing. But uh, in order to communicate about the book, a lot of people have said that, okay, this is amazing feminist writing. So I have not objected against them to raise yet another discussion on what is feminism, because that again is not my job. But I don't believe in the word. Uh, my idea of writing this particular thing was to re-explore the stories of Ramayana and Mahabharata through these five women, because I felt and I have been thinking about the stories of mythology. I have been invested in these stories for a very long time. Uh, and the way I had perceived the stories, when you look at philosophy is not just about religion. Religion is very compartmentalized. Philosophy is way more universal and it applies to all. So when I look at the philosophy of these stories, I find that these are applicable in every life. And that is what I had stepped into. And it's like the more you go, the steps, just the path shows. That's how it happened. And now that I have written all the five, I feel I have experienced that these are not just the stories that talk about women. These also very strongly talk about the stereotypical uh, things about men which have cornered them as well. So patriarchy did not affect only women; they affected men as well, with different kind of macho you know uh, image building, and they are not supposed to come out of it. They are not supposed to do certain things. They are not supposed to not do certain things, because if they kind of try to break that particular wall, then they will be called effeminate, they will be called Joruka Gulam, they will be called Stroino in Bengali. There are so many words, and these words are effectualized to shame men. So it's not just language has been put in order to shame women. There's a language put in order to shame men as well. And I very deeply figured that mythology does not talk about men and women as gender. They talk about masculinity and femininity as energies. So what you see is Kunti's story, which is who is a woman, might happen in a man's life as well. And what you see in Arjun's life might happen in a woman's life as well. So it is all about what phase of life you are in and what is your journey. It is not that anything that is written for a man or for a woman is gender specific. that is a very strong learning that I have evolved.
Absolutely. In fact, Indra is a very strong character in the in the book that was
In
written
all
on
the five.
Ahilya, and in all the five, actually. Exactly. So I have seen this, that you don't quite polarize characters or polarize men and women, which is what good books on women should do. Because definitely, patriarchy affects men as well as women. Koraldi, I loved all your books, but Mandodari was so brilliant. At least it spoke to me differently because I had read Ananil Kantan's Asura before this. And both books are such good retellings of the Ramayana, if we can call them retellings. Yes, of course, we do call them retellings, but I felt that, what I really loved about Mandodari is the way you portrayed her as this artist. We don't see that side of her. In fact, we don't know anything about her in conventional tropes of the Ramayana. So I would like to ask you, how do you see the triangle of relationship between Mandodari, Shurpanakha, and Sita? All three are to some extent victims, right? If not Sita so much, definitely Shurpanakha, I felt, in the general scheme of things, was somewhat a victim. Would you say that, all three women are kind of trying to make the best out of patriarchy that they can? Mandodari certainly is. Sometimes she knows that, what Ravan is doing is not right. Or how do you see these three women together, or do you think they cannot be seen together? They are completely different from each
Personally,
other.
I don't see them as victims at all
Okay.
because the way I have internalized all the three is that all the three are warriors in different ways. Warrior
Okay.
doesn't mean always
Sure.
mean that someone is carrying a sword and killing people.
Hmm.
There are different fights we fight, and there are different
Hmm.
tools for every war.
Hmm.
So look at all the three as warriors. As you rightly pointed out, we don't know much about Mandodari. But the only clue that I had for Mandodari was that she was a adopted daughter of Maya.
Hmm.
Mayasur was the one who built Indraprastha in
In Mahabharat.
Mahabharata. So if every father, if father is king, son is king, father is farmer, son is
Hmm.
farmer, father carpenter, son carpenter, then father architect, daughter
Daughter
architect, no?
architect. Hmm. Hmm.
That's the most simple assumption which had
Logical
missed.
assumption. Hmm.
Also, the support that I got against this kind of a theory is when Ravan occupied Lanka by
Hmm.
defeating Kubera. Lanka was very rich country. Kuber was we think Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth. It
Well,
is correct.
it's
Correct.
actually Kuber,
Kuber
yeah,
is the
the
keeper
goddess
of
of
wealth.
wealth,
Lakshmi is the
keeper of
goddess
wealth,
of prosperity.
prosperity.
Prosperity is a much bigger term compared to wealth. So Lakshmi is the goddess of prosperity. Now, when Ravan occupied Lanka, Lanka was a very rich country, but not a beautiful country. That is how Kuber's Lanka was. It was rich, full of gold and stuff. But when we hear about Ravan's Lanka, which Ravan and Vibhishan and Kumbhakarna and Karna and Mandodari and Meghnad, all of them were together in, that is a beautiful country that was spoken about. So what happened from affluence to beauty? There is a gap. And Ravan was not a beauty creator. He was a warrior with a very big ambition. So the only answer that I get is that there is
Mandodari.
nothing in between.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Now, uh, in any kind of leadership theory, if you see, Shamrita, when we are looking for something
Hmm.
with a lot of focus, we have to let go of a lot of other things. That
Hmm.
is general, something that Indira Nui had said and got trolled about. She had said that if you are a career woman, you will not be
Hmm.
able to take care of your family with equal finance. And she got trolled because people thought that it was a very anti-feminist.
So
Again, the reason why I
anti-feminist.
hate that
Hmm.
particular term, it is obvious. You have, say, 80 effective hours in the day,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
it is your decision whether you give 9 or
Hmm.
12 and 6 or whatever. But if your mind is into one aspect, you will give more time to that aspect. You can do a comparative numerical division of your time, 9, 9. But that doesn't mean you will be equally good here and equally good there. That's not possible. Your talent will tell you where you are more invested in,
Sure.
or your emotional will decide. It
Mm-hmm.
cannot be two at the same time. Then, I mean, that is an enormous pressure on you, which breaks the person.
I
So,
think the reason why she was trolled is I don't support it either, but I think the general assumption is this wouldn't be said about a man. So that was, I think, the general.
she was not even talking about a man. She was talking about a woman.
Like
I
men
thought,
can.
I don't know Indira Nooyi personally. I don't have no reason to
Yes,
support it or
absolutely. Now, I
anything.
know the tweet you're talking about, and she got a lot of
Yeah, it's,
unnecessary flack for it. I agree. That
yeah.
was wrong.
Coming back to Mandodari, when
Hmm.
she is when she is with her father is already an accomplished person who gets to see the talent in the daughter, but he has his own reason to stop her, which is there in the book. With
Mhm.
Ravan, she gets to explore herself. So
Exactly.
when I am after something, I will ignore everything else. That's mandatory. That's not victim. That's a leadership decision.
She
That
decides to make the
yes,
best. Like she
yes,
decides to do
that
what
is
she
a leadership
wants
decision.
and
Any
ignore
leader,
everything else. Hmm.
any leader chooses her destination. We think that the person has compromised. Be very, very clear about it that any leader chooses the destination and is working towards that. She is not even trying to explain to you that she is not compromising. She just has her eyes on the destination. The destination can also be her children, raising her children. And she is
Absolutely.
letting go of her job and everything.
Hmm.
She has just picked her destination and she is focused on that. So there's no victim. Sita, definitely not a victim. Someone else had done a crime and she refuses
Exactly.
to be identified with that crime. Otherwise, when Hanuman had come and said that, come with me, I'll take you back, why
She
did she
refused.
refuse?
Hmm.
She simply refused to go back, go run away like a thief. That I didn't do anything wrong. Why should I run like a thief? Let everything happen in public because if I run like a thief, the story will be incomplete.
Hmm.
And see what Ravan was doing was, of course, there are lots of theories like Ravan had a curse because of which he could not touch Sita
Hmm.
Butcher.
Hmm.
But simple story is Ravan was trying his level best to prove that though he brought Sita by force, Sita was staying in Lanka by her choice. That's why he was showing that I'll make you the biggest queen,
Hmm.
everything will be yours, you will be, revered by gods and humans alike. Had Sita said yes to Ravan, Rama would be defeated right there. The war wouldn't be required, you know. So how can Sita be a victim? Sita was very, very strong. Someone else had committed a crime. I don't really see her as a victim. Third person, Surpanakha. Again, I don't see her as a victim. She fought a war. She had certain things in her mind. Now, you might debate on whether it's right or whether it's wrong. Definitely not right. She approached a man and said, I want to marry you. The man said, I'm already married happily. I will not take a second wife. So please go away. She goes to his brother and says that, okay, he is not taking me in. I want to be your wife. The brother also says, I am happily married. Don't want to get married. Please get lost. Now she goes back to the elder brother. If there is something called no means no, it applies with everybody, right? When the guys say that they are not interested, why did you go back? Now, I let go of this. There are lots of feminists
Hmm.
again who will try to explain to you that Surpanakha was a victim. I don't see her as a victim. Now, Surpanakha wants
Revenge.
now. So she had already voiced what she
Hmm.
wanted.
Hmm.
Now, hearing a no,
Hmm.
she took it against her ego. Something that
Hmm.
typically men do.
Yes.
They cannot digest a yes. Now she attacks. She first
Hmm.
attacks Sita. That is when Lakshman attacks her back. Because Sita is not a sword and dagger kind of a woman. Surpanakha fought back. It was a war situation. Try to understand. It was a war situation. If there is a India-Pakistan war, or I think I gave a very wrong example. I should not give this kind of example. If there's a war between two countries, if there are women in both the army who are up there in the frontal force, right? Will the opponent think that, okay, I will not fight with a woman and they will put their guns down?
So,
They will
no.
shoot the army, right? They will shoot the opponent.
Mhm, mhm,
That is what happened, and Surpanaka's nose got slashed. It was
mhm,
a war situation. You might say that why did Lakshman fight? Are why will he not fight? She attacked, no?
mhm,
Simple. So again, I don't see her as a victim. I do see her as a lot with a lot of malice intent, but I definitely don't see her as an unintelligent, stupid woman. Look at what she did. She was angry with Ravan because Ravan killed her husband or partner, whatever he was, uh, Daitva, called Vidyut Jiva. In certain texts, he is present. She was in love, but he was a staunch enemy of the Rakshas, and he was planning something against Lanka. Ravan found out, killed the Daitva. Now, Subala gets very angry, leaves Lanka, comes to this part of the land, and gets to see Ram Lakshman. That entire story unfolds. Now, she is angry with Ravan, she is angry with Ram. Both are very powerful. What she does is simply she goes
pit them
back to her
against each
brother
other.
and gets
Mhm.
these two to fight. Now she
Pit
is
them
the
against
third
each
person
other.
standing and watching. That is strategy. That is strategy. You know? So where is the victim, you tell me now?
In conventional thinking,
In
they are
conventional thinking, I don't think
yes,
it, yeah, I think no, conventional thinking has put her as the
villain
villain.
or
That
vamp or whatever.
such a,
Yeah.
yeah, wow, such a bad one. Then
But
came the
that is
feminists.
mhm.
Then came the feminists. Feminists said, oh my God, a man slashing a woman's nose? How bad is that? They created their own, obituary for Surpanaka. And this is what I have to say. Of course, there are a lot of people who have very strongly, criticized Mandodari on this aspect that she didn't redeem Surpanaka. They're thinking, I am redeeming all these five women. Who the hell am I to redeem? After so many
Yeah,
years
this
of
is right.
patriarchy, after so many years of trying to put these women as marginalized characters, in spite of that, today there are women like me, like Chitra, like Anuja, like Sai Swarupa, so many of us who are writing about these women and finding strong voices. Thousands and thousands of years of patriarchy could not destroy these women. And you think I am the one to redeem these women? I mean, think
That's
much.
very interesting. Exactly. No, but there is a relationship between all three in that they were all independent and, had their own minds, contrary to what the
Shobhita,
popular
those days,
imagination.
if you look at
Hmm,
Ramayana, Mahabharata, or even
hmm,
Vedas, the
hmm.
stories show very, very interesting women
Absolutely.
who are not stupid, they
Not at
have
all
a
stupid.
mind of
Hmm,
their own and they take informed decisions. They do not
hmm, hmm,
necessarily take impulsive decisions.
hmm. Absolutely. Coming to the next part related to this somewhat, motherhood. Again, something that you have explored very well in Kunti. And I think what you have shown so well is how it can be so ambitious. We always associate mothers with such, they are such docile figures for us. And of course, they're also so weak all the time. You can't do this as a mother, you have to do this, and we are told what to do, right? As women, whenever we conceive or whenever the woman, instantly she's kind of caged. But in Kunti there is a fierceness. And there are so many tropes of motherhood in the Mahabharata. There's Ganga, the absent mother. There is Kunti, there is Draupadi. So would you like to talk about motherhood and how you see it in our epics, and how you portrayed it? What made you portray it the way you did in Kunti?
Kunti, actually, she was a very ambitious woman. And
Yes.
there are, mythology is full of metaphors because the moment you look at it as a philosophical
Mhm.
narrative, everything is a metaphor. Every character, every event is a metaphor. So Kunti is the kind of ambitious woman who, being a princess from Earth, wanted a child with the king of the Devas.
Mhm.
That is her level of ambition.
Hmm.
And every mother is very ambitious. We don't realize it. But just go and ask your mother. Go and ask any mother. They see the most. They see a world of possibilities.
Children.
So there is nobody more ambitious than the mother. And also, we have this notion that motherhood is only biological.
Mhm. It's not.
Motherhood is way beyond that. You might adopt a child and you become a
Mm,
mother.
absolutely.
You
Mhm.
might create a kingdom and you become a mother. You might invent something and you become the
Mhm.
mother of your invention. You know, so all entrepreneurs are mothers. All industrialists are mothers. All CEOs are mothers. It's
Writers.
yeah. So all of us in different ways exude motherhood, and we are fierce in protecting what we give birth to,
Hmm.
whatever be it a child, be it a thing, be it a company, whatever. So yes, I have managed to explore different. I mean, I have been fortunate to explore different forms of motherhood through the Sati series. Mandodari sees one kind of motherhood. Tara sees another kind of motherhood. Um, and Kunti is yet another side of motherhood, which is uh, very fierce. And, all of these stories are talking about leadership. And if you see the mother as a leader, for example, Kunti as a leader, her vision was very, very clear. And that is how a mother is, they get to see a little bit of the future. So that is the reason why they are always being very protective about their children. Right. So Kunti is way more, I mean, people call Draupadi fierce. Kunti is way more fierce, and Kunti has actually been hidden from Indian women because if Kunti comes in the fold, God knows what kind of liberties women will take. So Kunti is definitely one of the, not one of the, probably the most fierce women in both the epics
That-
put together.
Right.
Uh,
Okay.
but I found Mandodari's mothering of Meghnad also very, not just Meghnad and Atikaya, Akshay Kumar, very interesting in the way she raises them because Meghnad was known for illusory warfare technique,
Mhm.
because of which
Yes.
he managed to defeat Indra. And that illusion would probably come from Mandodari because she is the daughter of
Her
Maya.
art. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and Tara again, being from the monkey land, she is a very funny mother. So there are different kinds of Kunti, of course, is
The
a very
world,
serious mother.
the world in Tara is wonderful. The world that you built, it was fun. Tara was a fun book compared to the rest, which were a bit more
Yeah.
serious, right? Koral, we only have 40 minutes because it's a basic Zoom plan. So, my last question, and it would be a bit of, an encompassing question. Our epics are palimpsestic in nature. There is no doubt about that. They are dynamic. They are not at all stereotypical, much as we have reduced them to stereotypes today through our television dramas. And the best thing about them, I think that is your idea in the series also, is that men and women both are victims of society's prejudices. It is not just women. Years of patriarchy have made women so, I think, as feminists, or you don't like that word, but as gender studies scholars also,
I mean, I
sometimes
may not like that word on myself. It's
no,
not
it's
that
there,
I
yeah.
agree.
For
They're
want of a better word,
existing.
yeah.
So,
So it some
everything is a result of certain things. I'm not saying
yes.
that people who are feminists, why are they there? I'm not
Mhm,
challenging them because it's obvious when one kind of
mhm,
extremism
mhm.
happens, reverse extremism will also come
Yeah,
up.
exactly. So this is
So
it's
that's
the
what
extreme
has
kind of
happened.
thing that we keep seeing men as villains and as opposites, which is actually not right because men are also victims. So how do you think today's children, Gen Z, so to speak, should read the epics, and how should we treat the binaries of male and female, and they're not binaries. That's the first thing that we need to re-understand in our heads, because years of patriarchy has polarized us against each other, and that there are many forms of gender. I think our epics also show that very well, not just men and women. There are so many other forms. So what lessons do the epics impart, if they can impart lessons about gender, and how do you see children today reading the epics in this generation of smartphones and
Before
gadgets?
children read the epics, they hear the epics.
Yes, oral
Storytelling, storytelling
storytelling.
starts
Hmm.
with there was a
In
great
the
king of
home.
Ayodhya who had three wives. That is
Hmm.
where our basic storytelling
Hmm.
starts. So people who are telling the stories, the parents and the grandparents and the teachers, they have to be very, very conscious about what they are saying. I remember when my child was smaller, I had once asked them, and that time Sati series was just shaping up. I mean, I was just on the first book, it had not yet been published. And I had asked my son, he was an ardent reader of Ramayana and Mahabharata. So I had asked him that who is your favorite woman character? And he looked at me as if this question doesn't even exist. I mean, why should someone have a favorite woman character? Because when you
Favorite
ask
character.
favorite character from epics, there are many answers. Arjun,
Exactly.
Bhishma,
Exactly.
Krishna.
Hmm.
There are many answers. But favorite woman character,
Hmm.
that question doesn't even click.
Hmm. Hmm.
So when you are talking about the stories,
Hmm.
it's important to explain to them the leadership from the leadership perspective that every person was a leader and every person has taken leadership decisions, every person has made mistakes, and every person has suffered the consequences, and every person has taken corrective actions. And there are a few who refuse to admit their mistakes and take corrective actions. They were the ones who were punished. You see, if you see Bhishma and Ravan
Hmm.
abducted Sita.
Hmm.
Bhishma abducted Ambika,
Yeah.
Ambalika
Um,
from their.
exactly.
So
Hmm. Hmm.
the crimes are same in for both. The only difference is Bhishma at a later stage
Repented.
understood what he
Hmm.
had done.
Hmm.
Otherwise, in Ramayana, which has happened before the Mahabharata,
Hmm.
in Ramayana we see Lakshman slashing Surpanakha's
Hmm.
nose. We were just talking about it.
Hmm.
In Mahabharata, we have Chitrangada, Ulupi as female warriors. Why would Bhishma suddenly say that he would not fight in Kurukshetra, he would not fight with a trans character called Shikhandi? Simple. He knew that this was Amba and he wanted redemption. He wanted to submit. And that is why Bhishma remained the great one and Ravan was called the Sita. Because Ravan till the last date never admitted that he had done something wrong. So every leader made a lot of decisions in response to the circumstances that they were facing. Bhishma had his own circumstances, Ravan had his own. Ravan took certain decisions, Bhishma took certain decisions. They both did what they did, faced the consequences. Their response to the consequences is all that made the difference. Now, if we explain the stories from this perspective, not just men, not just women, both, the
Hmm.
learning is a lot gender free. You don't look at the person or the person's capabilities on the basis of that person's gender. You look at the person on the basis of his or her capabilities, his or her presence of mind,
Hmm.
his or her talent, his or her intention. And that is all we need. We don't need appreciation as a gender. We don't need any kind of,
Special
discount
treatment.
as a
Hmm.
gender. That's not
Absolutely.
what we are
Just
looking for.
the right to live our life as we want to.
Exactly.
Men,
Respect.
women, uh,
Exactly.
transgenders, everyone. Just let us
Respect and
make our own
forgiveness is all
choices.
that we are asking for.
Hmm.
Respect for what we are capable of doing,
Hmm.
forgiveness for what we have failed for. We failed, we will stand up, we will
Hmm.
make it for ourselves. But we need the support, and that support can come from forgiveness. We have failed, it's fine. Forgive us if my failure has affected you. Support me. I will come back. That's all. And that is not about a man or a woman. That is universal.
Absolutely. Right, Koral, before we quickly wrap up, what is your next project? Can we look forward to a new book? Would you like to talk
Right
about
now,
your
I
next
am taking
one?
a peaceful break. I am not actually thinking about what do I write. I do have projects in mind. I keep scribbling notes. I keep checking my options here and there. But I don't have something to tell you right now that, okay, this is what is materializing. So,
Your first work was Russia, which is very
my
different
first,
from.
that was my third work.
Yeah, but I read. Okay, it was not your first work.
That
I
was
read
not
it
my book.
after I read. I think after I read Draupadi, and it is very different from this whole mythology thing. So, can we expect something like that now after you've written all
I
these
so much
books
want to.
on?
I so much want to go back to. I so much want to take a break from mythology. Go back to general fiction, and then come
Hmm.
back maybe because I really need that. I mean, these five books has been so. I mean, they have been spiritually very liberating. But writing, they're heavyweight books. So writing them has taken a lot from me. I need to recuperate. I need to, get back that fierceness, that madness in me to be able to go back to mythology. And it definitely needs that. It needs a lot of madness. It needs a lot of commitment.